Okay, Sharini is ready with the written reports and questions. So we will start the session with written reports.
Sorry. Avasrai Bhante, there are 16 reports in total.
Right.
Report number 1, Dear Bhante, I am practicing walking meditation at home daily, including sitting meditation. But I notice whenever festive day comes, like yesterday, my mind wants to enjoy the day, example by going to hotels, but later at the end of the day, I realized I wasted valuable day going on greediness of my mind. I couldn't recognize that as karma chanda. Plus the saddest part, when I entered the hotel, I lost the mindfulness on feet. But luckily these days, as I stopped consuming sugar, I saved from sugar, but that also I stopped with great effort.
But time to time, these are little things actually we can often discuss. If I relate it with one interesting sutta called Ogatharana Sutta, probably you have heard, this is the very first sutta in the Sangyutta Nikaya. So where one deity approached the Buddha and he is asking, Bhante, how have you crossed the flood? So flood particularly means the floods of the defilements. So there Buddha's explanation is giving us a little very interesting phenomena. So not struggling and also not kind of wasting time, or how to say, not completely in a kind of a lazy mood. So the idea is, if he struggle a lot, so that taken to the Atta-Kilamatana yoga, if he struggle a lot, so then he will be carried away by the current. On the other hand, if he simply become idle, that also makes him sunk into the water. So therefore the approach is not a huge struggle and also not the complete idling. So you have to maintain a kind of a balanced approach. So that is where the effort has to be a kind of a balanced amount. So if you spend a very hard, very strict, very strong, continuous, strenuous practice, it also can become a kind of a dry mentality, can cause a dry mentality. On the other hand, if you completely neglect the practice, that also doesn't give any help. So you will be completely carried away by the current of the, say, sensuality. So sensual desires are very much dragging us to the samsara, dragging us to this sensuality, and ultimately we get sunk because we are not making any effort. On the other hand, if we are more into the extraneous effort, so that also can kind of disturb the mind and can make the mind quite restless. So that is also not the correct approach. So the correct approach has to be a kind of a balanced approach. So the point I want to highlight is, sometimes we have to be strict on ourselves and we have to sometimes maintain self-restraint. So that is a must. On the other hand, sometimes our mind also needs a little bit of enjoyment, little bit of pacification or say consolation. At that moment we need a little bit of such enjoyment, I would say. But that enjoyment shouldn't be a harmful way of enjoyment. Because if you are strictly trying to swim across the current, so that's also not possible, because the speed and the strength of the current may be very, very strong. So you need actually in a way to make use of the strength of the current. At the same time you are swimming to the other shore, not stagnating in this side, but you are crossing through. So what is the amount of effort we need to maintain? So what occasion I need to participate, what occasion I should avoid. So it's a kind of a very practical situation that we all are maybe facing. There may be festive seasons, there may be various parties and various events to which am I going to participate and to which I am not going to participate. So we can't have a hard and fast rule. Rather, you need to decide, okay, what is the best thing to do today? say today my mind is quite alright and I'm quite happy or calm and quiet, so I better continue the path as it is, then you better continue and better avoid any kind of a disturbance. On the other hand, you see that I feel more dry and there is no any energy and you feel quite bored, extremely bored, and so something like that, then a little bit of boost is necessary for the mind to uplift your energy. On such situation, probably reading a book or talking to a good friend and a little bit of enjoyment, a wise type of, wise in the sense innocent way of enjoyment might be useful again to bring back to your energy. So therefore you decide and which time I am going to enjoy, which time, what is the way I am going to enjoy, and on the other hand, what is the time I am not going to participate and I am completely on my isolation, on my seclusion. It's up to you. So therefore, it's all right for you to have a little bit of a guideline. Okay, these events I am not going to participate, but little events, maybe a family event, maybe children, maybe husband, maybe wife, and close circle event, just to maintain the the unity. So like that, you need to decide to what extent I am participating and to what extent I am not going to, because these are kind of areas that we need to balance. Certain interpersonal relationships are something we need to be concerned. On the other hand, it doesn't mean that we are completely ignoring our practice. It's a kind of a balance.
Question number 2. I have been meditating for a period of over 5 years and I like to practice and walk in the Dhamma path. At present, I have enough financially and otherwise for basic necessities to continue my lifestyle. I work part-time and there is a sense of happiness whenever I have work and then earn money, though I have enough of this. This happiness I feel is a greed thought that I get it. I work part-time and there is a sense of happiness whenever I have work and earn money, though I have enough. This happiness I feel is a greed thought that I get. It is a desire to have more and more. Bhante, how do I balance these greed thoughts that arise?
So that's another interesting statement. One thing is santutti paramandana. The contentment is the best wealth. On the other hand, this Dhamma is for the one who is kind of having that contentment. So if we are continuously going after various desires and we are continuously in a kind of a frustration, I couldn't fulfill all my desires, so I am in a kind of frustrated mood. Every time something lacking. Mind is always asking this, asking that, and I feel kind of a frustration because my desires are not fulfilled. So that is where we feel frustration. Many desires are there, I am unable to fulfill them and I feel completely lost, completely frustrated. But on the other hand, if you are with less wishes and some of them may be fulfilled and some maybe you are let go of, and you feel fairly contented, and what you have is something that you can nourish yourself, maintain yourself, and then with that little and you are being happy. So there are different ways that we can have happiness. So wealth, money, status, education, many areas are there that people are trying to be happy using those different approaches. On the other hand, spiritual happiness is another aspect of happiness, another way of happiness. Sometimes we call it as the niramisa piti. So it's a kind of an unworldly way of happiness. So typically we expect to be happy by watching movies, so going to parties and listening to music and having the best scents and all that, and then the sensual enjoyment. So that is the happiness that we typically identify as the happiness. But there is another aspect available to us as human beings. It's a kind of a spiritual happiness, and you don't need much to have that happiness. I mean, from the material point of view, you don't need much to have in order to be happy in that side. What you need is a little bit of seclusion and maybe a little bit of peaceful environment and certain amount of your free time, and then mindfulness, concentration, and your clarity of mind is there. And as you are moving forward, you give a fair amount of emphasis to this clarity of mind, this calmness, this clarity, kind of the integrity of yourself. So that's something very, very important. We need to pay attention. So therefore, you need to see if your mind is greedy and keep on asking this and that, let it be. But you continue the practice. The practice will take care of reducing these kind of desires. Because at the beginning we can't immediately attack them, or we can't immediately let them go. Rather, you continue the practice. So the practice will take care of slowly discarding them, reducing these various desires. And as you all know, the second noble truth, the tanha, the craving, has to be let go of. It is not that something to be satisfied, rather we need to drop it. It is easy to say than doing it. It's easy to say, okay, you have to let go of the desire, you need to let go of the craving, you need to let go of the tanha. Easy to say, but when it really happens, are you able to take the proper choice, correct decision? So that these are very practical areas that we need to test ourselves. Am I ready to drop a particular desire and give some priority to my own seclusion, so inner happiness? Very difficult sometimes, because you know that the certain spiritual happiness might not be readily available. You need a little bit of practice to gain it, to touch it, to experience it, and you need fair amount of time and dedication for that. And once you gain that, you need to maintain it, protect it for a while, and then slowly things may be available to you. But you need certain amount of dedication coming from our side. But on the other hand, the sensual desires we see as kind of cheaply available, isn't it? These are some cheap satisfaction. Those are available nowadays. But that is not the only area we need to target at. We need to look forward to, because as human beings we have this variable opportunity to us to look something better, rather than simply being satisfying ourselves with these sensual desires and all that. So we have this rare opportunity as human beings, and we got the nice opportunity to encounter the Buddha's teaching and try to make use of that opportunity and targeting something better, something higher in a way. And as you are slowly moving in that direction, so other various mundane kind of or mean type of happiness, getting happiness, may become slowly discarded, and you are looking for something better, something sublime. So it will happen naturally. So I don't need to ask you to drop it, rather continue the path, and then slowly the path or the practice will take care of dropping certain desires. It will happen naturally. And on the other hand, kind of a happy mood is very important. So don't try to restrict everything and impose so many rules and regulation onto yourself and go through a kind of a torturing type of approach. So that is also not going to help. It can have some psychological issues in your mind. So better to have a little bit of happiness. Definitely happiness is one aspect of the Buddha's teaching. Probably you have heard about the Piti Sambojjhanga, the rapture as an enlightenment factor. And Buddha is asking us to derive happiness through various means. Say, for example, if you are maintaining good sila, and he is asking us to use the sila to derive happiness. And if you are having anapanasati, buddhanusati, dhammanusati, chaganusati, you know that all are kind of good activities that we are getting involved with. Assume that you are quite generous person and you have given something. And there Buddha say, okay, use it as a chaganusati. So you are being generous, you have helped someone, and just develop that kind of a quality that you derive happiness. Happiness is very, very important aspect of our practice. So have a understanding onto these different areas. So don't impose too many rigid, strict rules also. But of course, certain areas are there we need to be very strict. Say for example, now if we call, when it comes to the, say, monk's rule, for example. So Buddha is giving, okay, there are 4 parajikas, you have to be strict on that. And say for lay Buddhist, say the 5 precepts. So try to be strict on those areas and have certain amount of principles in your life. So that is also giving you a kind of a spiritual strength to you. So don't compromise them. So have a kind of a balanced approach there as well.
Question number 3. I concentrate on watching in-breath and out-breath at my nostril. Firstly, it's felt very obviously at the nostril. But slowly it fades away, and when I keep watching the same place, which is an empty space, I keep my attention there. I feel it as a glowing endless space in which occasional thoughts keep coming and going. I also go to places in the body where sensations are felt and come back again to the empty space. The breath is also felt occasionally coming up and fading away. Please advise how to continue my practice. Much merit.
I mean, what you're doing is correct. Basically, while you are paying attention to breath, now you even notice the space. So this space can even develop. So at first, space may be very tiny, very short, but the space may even evolve and even expand, and you might not even feel the breath, but more on the spaciousness. So it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So the spaciousness of the mind is something that we need to look forward. So the phenomena are there. Now here we are practicing of the Rupa Kammatthana, the what we call the Anapanasati. So there is some very fine material aspect, and we are paying attention to that. But as you continue, it might even fade away. You might even notice it. So the whole experience can be more spacious. So are you able to maintain that? Are you experiencing any kind of various distracting thoughts during that time? Or are you experiencing any different kinds of visualizations, hallucinations? Or are you falling asleep? These are the kind of disturbances or the obstacles you might encounter. So if you are able to completely abandon all these obstacles, then you are able to maintain this spaciousness of the mind. It's a good thing. So as you are continuing the Kayanupassana, probably you may completely free from the body. So now you are not feeling the body, and probably now you feel very soft feeling and maybe like floating and very soothing kind of an experience. So that is the good side, or the sukha vedana, say more into the happiness side. So happiness is also another feeling that you need to look at from objective point of view. So happiness is another feeling. Rather than you want it and you attach to it, or happiness is another feeling. So you are looking at from that angle. So likewise, Anapanasati is where we are going through the happy side. At first we start with the very neutral feeling, and it may convert to a happy feeling as we are step into the Vedananupassana section. Piti patisangvedi assasi samiti sikkati. Sukha patisangvedi assasi samiti sikkati. All are the positive or the pleasant type of feelings, but you need to look at them as it is. Don't attach to them, don't invite them, don't request them, expect them. Rather, it's a mere happy feeling, mere pleasurable feeling. And just look at it as it is and see how that also come and go. And then you can continue the path. And please, if you have any question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we are continuing to the next section.
Dear Bhante, 2 questions. Please explain the importance of time management in Buddhism, as I find it difficult to work on time sometimes. Question number 2, is it possible to wear jewelry when observing Atasil?
Okay, let's talk about time management. It actually depends on where you are. So one thing is, at first we need, as I mentioned, we need a little bit of discipline. We need to discipline ourselves. So sometimes our minds are lethargic and doesn't have much energy to practice. You don't want to wake up early. So then it's very difficult to continue. So therefore you are imposing a little bit of discipline into yourself. So there the timetable may be very important. So you are strict into the timetable, and you are getting up early and following a particular schedule. All that is a necessary aspect, and it is a must in a way. But as you progress, your mind become more open, fairly awakened, and you can recognize various defilements, and the mindfulness is available to you now, and you know what to do now, and kind of the internally certain faculties are now being developed. There you need to find the balance. Because if you continue to be very rigid, that is also not going to be the balanced approach. At first, definitely you may have to be rigid, little bit of restraining yourself. Kind of a self-restrainment may be necessary. But later, you need to understand what are the traits available in the mind, where still the mind is inclined towards. That you can't recognize if you are putting too much of restrictions to the mind. So you need to look at it from a, like you are, say, restraining a child. Say when you are restraining a child, at first the child doesn't know much. So you, as a parent, you as an elder, you as a teacher, you need to fairly restrain him, and you have to tell him what to do and what not to do and all that. A fair amount of observation is necessary because he himself doesn't have much understanding. But as he is developing understanding, as he is maturing, and you need to give some freedom to him. And you can distantly observe him whether he is now capable of maintaining his own discipline. Rather than always trying to, punish him, now you need to step back and see the child is really mature, whether he has his own wisdom, he has his own kind of a discipline, then we can really rely on him. Mind has the same thing. So at first we have to really restrain it, discipline it, but as it is gaining certain amount of wisdom, gaining certain amount of concentration, gaining certain amount of these spiritual faculties, definitely we need to give some freedom. Otherwise you are not progressing, you are not allowing the mind to be progress. Instead, excess energy, excess effort can be a reason for restlessness. Atipaggahitang viriyang uddachanu patitang. So the Dhamma explains this very clearly, beautifully. So if you are exerting too much energy at the wrong time, it can be a reason for restlessness in the mind. So therefore, have kind of an approach depending on where you are. At first, if you think, okay, I need certain amount of restrainment, my mind is still very naughty, okay, put some rules, no problem. Later understood, okay, now the fellow is fairly matured and he is understanding what to do, okay, give some freedom. Yeah. And you have, okay, I think I answered both, right? No? Time management and then restrainment.
Jewelry. In Atasya.
Jewelry. Okay. There's a, very beautiful Dhammapada verse. Can't remember it. I'll find it down and let you know the exact Dhammapada verse. So it is not exactly the outer appearance that really matters. So there may be a person who is really with certain adornment, but still having a real renunciative approach. But on the other hand, there may be another person who is into that and completely into the ignorance. That's also true. So it's a kind of a person dependent. It's very difficult to say, okay, everyone, whoever spiritual, have to get rid of all the ornaments, all the jewelry. You have to be like a monk. So that is also, I feel, a little bit of too extremist type of a view. Because there are people who are really wealthy and they sometimes wear maybe jewelry or whatever it is, but I know that their minds are still very pure and they are maintaining kind of a good conduct. Everything is there. But depending on the situation, they may be wearing appropriate way. On the other hand, you need to understand, okay, if I am into the self-beautification, I am too much concerned about the beauty of the body and, doing this and that, then that is going in the wrong direction. That is where you understand, okay, I am more into beautification, more into self-adornment. So that is somewhere I have gone wrong. This is not I am talking now. Rather, you understand the situation and assume that you are going to a party or you're going to a wedding or whatever, and you are appropriately wearing it, and that's just for the occasion, that's it. Just a conventional occasion, that's it. And you are not taking it so seriously. And also you are not trying to show off, telling that I am not into any of these. I am a very modest person. So you guys are still into sensuality. I am not like that. I am a renunciant. It's your own mentality. So your own mentality is, are you using your own restraint, your own moral conduct to weigh yourself, comparing yourself with another person? Or you are simply, adjusting yourself to the situation. And internally okay, these are mere convention, I have no attachment, and at any given moment I can give it up. So that depends on you really. Are you really capable of doing that? You really attached to the ornaments? Are you really attached to the jewelry? Or you are simply using it for mere occasion?
Bhante, this is basically only during Atasil. When you are observing Atasil.
For Atasil, I think maybe Nachcha Gita Vadita Visuka Dasana Mala Gandha Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vipassana. Yeah, Vipassana. The Vipassana term, I can, as far as I can remember, means that you are beautifying yourself, kind of self-adoration kind of thing. So there is better keep it aside and have a fairly frugal and modest kind of an approach.
Question number 5. About 2 retreats back, a fleeting understanding occurred to me that the liberalization of the mind occurs here and now, even in an unenlightened mind. It was a relief, this understanding. I hoped it would have a domino effect on my mind, the release of the bondage of my mind, but I don't think there was any drastic change thereafter. In fact, even the true nature of that understanding I can't grasp. I only now have a vague thought-based memory of it. Would you please shed some light on this?
Say for example, you are wishing for that. May I attain Sotapanna, may I attain Sotapanna. It's a thought in a way. On the other hand, you are thinking, okay, I am still not a Sotapanna. See, still I am not. Another thought. So therefore, it's not really the thought really matters. So are you able to recognizing it as a mere thought? It's another mere thought. And you understand, okay, it also has a nature to come and go. So therefore, the approach is kind of penetrating that. So thoughts are arising, thoughts are passing away, and you are penetratively understanding that reality. And so it is instantaneous and utterly in the present moment then. So not in the future, not in the past, but right now, assume that there is a thought and you recognize it as a thought, and you are not being carried away by that thought. And once you know that it has come and it will go, and you see that passing away as well, and once it passes away, again you may have the clarity of the mind or the calmness or the neutral feeling or equanimity, all that are there. So that is the kind of the area that we need to kind of land upon. Etan santang etan panitang yadidang upekha. So it is quite sublime, it is quite tranquil, and it is fairly equanimous. And therefore it happens right now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, just now. So at first we think, okay, today I am practicing for future enlightenment, but rather the best approach, as you have also recognized, is today I practice for today's calmness, for today's abandonment of the defilements. So if right now, if your mind is burning with anger, right now you need to calm it down. Right now it has to attain Nibbana. Ragakke, dosakke, mohakke, right now. It may further and further reduce the future ability or possibility of arising defilements, true. But right now, if there is any burning defilement, so it is our responsibility to keep it aside and let it go, and again take the mind back to the calmness, back to the tranquility, back to the Nibbana. I am not saying this Nibbana is the best kind of a Nibbana, but without this current moment, present moment, calmness, present moment, tranquility, you can't think of a future thing. Rather, right now, at this very moment, you need to calm it down. Release the mind. Let go of all the attachment. Let go of all the clinging, grasping, etc. So the present moment is utterly important in that sense. So even if a realization happen, even the real attainment of a Magga or anything happen, it may happen right now. That's why the present moment is extremely important, and you are not looking forward many with a lot of expectations that can be an hindrance. Rather, you are utterly in the present moment and fairly happy, fairly contented, and you are looking at what happened right now, what is happening, so how it happens and how it evolves and how it disappears. Actually, it is very well explained in the Baddekaratta Sutta. Atitan nanvagameya nappatikanke anagatang yadatetang pahinantang appattancha anagatang pachuppannancha yo dhammang tatta vipassati. So Buddha simply say, Atitan nanvagameya. Don't just follow the past. Nappatikanke anagatang. So don't too much be anxious about the future. Yadatitang pahinantang. Whatever the past, it has gone. It's done. It's finished. Yadatitang pahinantang appattancha anagatang. The future hasn't come yet. So the past and the future has now let go of. Now you have only the present. Pachuppannancha yo dhammang tatta vipassati. So the present moment phenomena, right now you investigate. You vipassana. You take it into the vipassana.
There's a second part to it. More often than in the past, I sense more relief inside my mind and outside. It's as if particles are settling down. But there are also seem to be spells within me and outside of me. This is not a bad thing. It is less stimulation because particles are settling. Then there is just a more basic experience without things added to it. But this basic experience could be boring at times. How do I handle this?
Welcome the boredom. So be with the boredom, because we need to sort of be familiar to this boredom, because the thing is we are in a kind of a continuous stimulation. So we want to stimulate the mind. We are triggering the mind again and again through the sense impingements. So that's why we are having smartphones and YouTube and WhatsApp and Facebook and that thing and this thing and all that, because we are stimulating the mind. Continuous stimulation is there. But the practice is taking us to the reduction of stimulation, keeping the mind more quiet, very tranquil, without stimulation, without ripples. And that appear like boring. So don't disturb it. At least assume that today you are able to withstand it just 5 minutes. Say tomorrow try to make it, say, at least 10 minutes. So likewise, slowly broaden it. And then you may understand, okay, mind will understand it, or mind start appreciating it. Rather than stimulation, the tranquility becomes something more valuable, rather than kind of a stimulating mind. So therefore, the approach is just to be familiar with it, welcome it, just be with it.
Question number 6, 3-page report.
3-page report.
I'm attending the day retreat after 1 month.
Sorry? Yeah.
I'm attending the day retreat after 1 month. During morning seated meditation, which was done without any walking meditation, I observed on breathing closer to my nostrils. Initially, I took breathing in and felt that it was heavy and contraction in the chest. The breath out was very short. It was after 5 to 6 breaths, felt that both in and out breathing was lost. I started looking for it, but only the muscle contractions were observed, and also felt that I noticed muscle pressure only after air has been taken in, missing my observation. I observed that seated posture was less effortless than 1 month ago. It was more automatic, at ease as Venerable Thero...
less effortless?
Was less effort, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. More than 1 month ago, it was more automatic, at ease, as Venerable Thero mentioned. I felt the touching of the clothes, pressing of the body against the cushion, the wind, movement, sounds of the ceiling fan, etc. It was difficult to take my mind to my nostrils, as the fan wind was moving like a whirlwind. I felt I'm under a cyclone around the nostrils. Breathing cannot be felt. It was hijacked. However, there was a void around the nose area, and felt that the entire ceiling fan wind was circling around it. I changed my concentration into movement of chest. The breathing was not pleasant. Ruffman had to make an effort. I felt that the entire experience was a bit disturbing. An outcome was not achieved. I didn't have a peaceful experience. That is sitting meditation.
May I know who has written it? Yours? Shall we talk? Can you pass the message? Yeah, mic over there. Even today, are you experiencing the same thing?
No, I think it developed right now. It's much better because I think I got more disturbed, and I was trying to pressure myself into concentrate on the breathing in and out.
Right. So that's a good approach. At first, we need a little bit of restraining ourselves, as I already mentioned, and we are trying to establish mindfulness. But later, we allow the breathing to happen naturally, and we are in a balanced way. We keep our attention to the breathing without much effort. So at first, we don't know that balance. We are putting too much effort, and that can create certain amount of trouble. But later we understand practically, so what is the exact amount of energy necessary to maintain the attention to this breathing. That means you are not too much attracted, or you are not too much putting excess effort, but also you are not distracted. You are paying attention to the breathing, but you are not distracted. Also, you are not absorbed to the breath either. You are not adhering to the breath either. So you are having a very beautiful balance. So you know the complete cycle of the breathing without any kind of say feeling tired. You have not such kind of an experience. Rather, very smooth observation is going on. So in such occasion, I mean, are you right now in that balance?
Yes,
okay.
I can
So
say
what is the outcome now?
I didn't do seated meditation. I didn't do after that. I did a lot of walking meditation.
Right.
So I think it's yet to experience the evening during the evening session.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, what happened during the walking?
It was. I think it was quite okay. I got very sensitive. I felt like as usual and even more. And there were certain questions that has at least been kind of had an ironic moment where I realized certain things
Answers?
also, yes, which was relieving.
Could be possible, but don't allow don't promote thinking. Come back to the step.
That's true.
Because it's a very natural phenomena. Because we may have certain burning issues, burning problems, but the solution may happen during the walking. Because your mind settles and the clarity improves and your mind become more tranquil. Instantaneously you get the solution.
Yes.
But then keep it aside and continue the practice.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to read the rest of the report, or are you okay?
I'm okay, Ban.
Okay, fine.
Question number 7. I have been meditating since my first course in Vipassana as taught by Guru S.N. Goenka. I started in 1999 and have continued to practice. I watch feelings in the body. I started by scanning the body, but now I am aware of my full body and I watch whatever arises. I have not done much walking meditation. Today I found it easiest to watch the feel of the sand under my soles as I walked. Is that okay?
Can you repeat the last statement?
Yes. I found it easiest to watch the feel of the sand under my soles.
Feel.
Soles as I walked. Is that okay? Under my feet.
Quite okay. At the same time, probably you can watch the mind as well, because if you are into meditation for a long time, so probably you may have certain amount of understanding about the mind as well. So what is happening to the mind? So may I know who has written it? Yeah. So shall we talk? Since you are into long-term practice, so are you feeling complete silence of the mind?
Yes, sometimes I do.
Sometimes.
Yes.
And at such occasions, what do you do?
I just relax and I just move.
Just relax?
Yes, just relax.
Okay, good.
I like it when that happens. I'm just, just waiting.
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah.
Ah.
So sometimes some people are into the kind of an obsession that they have to strenuously put an attention to a particular phenomena and don't keep the mind just relax. But relaxation is one aspect of the practice. So if there is no attachment, if there is no grasping, just enjoy the emptiness.
Yes.
So it's very much like what Buddha says, dwelling in emptiness. So sunyata viharana. So you are dwelling in emptiness. And mind doesn't need a particular phenomena to be conscious.
Yeah.
It can be conscious without a phenomena. So we are touching that capacity. So at first we need something to be conscious, something to be mindful. Later mindfulness is available, but you don't need anything to be mindful. You are fully aware, by the way. So just enjoy that complete openness, stillness of the mind, and we don't need to introduce any phenomena, any object purposely to the mind. In case, because of the latent tendencies, if it picks up object, that's a different story. There also we need to release it. But the approach is keeping it completely pure, completely open, completely spacious, and just enjoy that silence.
Also, Bhante, quite often, I'm in that stage, and suddenly I get sort of...
Just keep it close. Yeah.
Sometimes, yes, sorry. I get some sort of feeling. It could be tension, it could be some gross feeling somewhere in my body.
Right.
And then I keep watching it, and it comes, and somehow it sort of goes out of my,
Right, understood.
Yeah, so what is that happening? Why is that happening?
One thing is that in the Vipassana practice, we call it like a kind of a psychological catharsis process happens. So there may be certain traumatic things or any kind of hidden or latent, suppressed emotions and all that, and past memories, and those may be stagnating in the mind, and as we release our mind, become more relaxed, and that can come to the surface and come out of it. And it's a kind of purging kind of thing. So it's going out. Let it go out.
Yeah.
And once it go out, you feel more relaxed.
Yes.
More relaxed,
Yes.
more calm. And more your feeling or your experience has to be a relaxation.
Yes.
So if you more and more feel relaxation, more and more internal silence, more and more stillness of the mind, then you are in the correct direction.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Question number 8. In breath and out breath, how could I could focus on 3 or 4 cycles only. There are afterthoughts flooded my mind. As I practiced earlier in this center, I could calmly let them arise and go. I felt pain inside my head, neck and shoulders. After some time, I could focus again on my in-breath and out-breath.
So is this pain happening inside the head? Is it mentioned like that, inside the head?
Sorry. I could focus on 3 or 4 cycles only. Thereafter, thoughts flooded my mind. As I practiced earlier in this center, I could calmly let them arise and go. I felt pain inside my head, neck and shoulder. That is when you're sitting meditation. So,
is it a frequent thing or it happened only today? May I know who has written it? Anyone? Yeah. Could you come forward? Are you frequently experiencing this thing or?
My Bhante, because my best friend had a cancer. So like when I heard it, I felt faintish.
Right.
After that, I got like hip pain, neck pain, and shoulder.
So now what is her situation?
Now I feel more calm.
So now the pain also has gone?
Still, it's there, but I am relaxed now.
Okay. So are you confident that the pain will disappear and you become quite normal as you move forward, or? Yes. Okay. Because otherwise we need to change the breath to the. So rising and falling is a better approach, because sometimes if pain happens inside the head, it can be a little bit troublesome thing. So better on such occasion change the attention to a different kamatahana, different primary object. So better in such case taking rising and falling as an object. So but if you are confident, you can practice further and see whether you are not experiencing any kind of obstacle, and these aches are also gone. Because if you are going through anapanasati, so the experience is more into the pleasant kind of a thing. On the other hand, as you continue anapanasati, there are another situation. Throughout the body, there are sensations start appearing. That's also not a bad thing. So these are two people actually. One person going through one approach, another person is going through another approach. Both are possible, by the way. So, but for you, I feel that because of this incident, there may be a little bit of issue. But if it is subsiding, now you may come into the typical pleasant approach, then no problem.
question number 9. Sitting meditation began well, but later on thoughts came. Yet I was able to being mindful of the thoughts, which thereby stopped. I think this is part of Vipassana Bhavana. Also later, there was an image that was printed on my mind, which I had a hard time removing. Walking meditation was okay, but a monkey and its child got agitated because of me, and I thought about that for a while. I also thought about the monkeys back in our neighborhood and concluded that they were not the same lot.
Same what? Same lot. They are different, right? Okay. Good. They are different. I mean, don't think too much. I mean, they come to enjoy and just enjoy their sight and just continue the path. Because sometimes you need some mischievous thing also to be happy, and just enjoy it and continue.
Question number 10 has six parts, 6 questions. Dear Bhante, I am new to this place, but I am very happy about the guidance given on this subject. Few things to clarify. Since being a human, there is no different world to live. Hence, it has both negative as well as positive because of economical reasons. How to stand in good faith? Question number 1.
How to stand in good faith because there is no place to go. Is that asking?
Since I guess different, yeah. Hence, unless. Number 2 is how to access the result of meditation. Is there any measuring technique?
Yeah. Okay, let me give some guidance in measuring. Now, say for example, in terms of walking. Say at walking, at first you may be able to only walk mindfully, say 5 steps. But as you continue, you can walk, say 7 steps, maybe 10 steps, 15 steps, 20 steps, mindfully. So it's a measurement. So that means quantitatively, you can measure there is an improvement. At first I could only walk 5 steps mindfully, but now I can walk 20 steps mindfully. That means you have a certain amount of a measurement about the progress in mindful walking. Same thing with the, say, Anapanasati, for example. I am not asking you, by the way, to count the breaths. So, counting the breaths can become a burden to the mind. Approximately, say, for example, say only 5 minutes, maybe 10, 20 breaths you are able to mindful, otherwise your mind get distracted. But later you understand, okay, now continuously about 20, 40 minutes, I can consistently pay attention to breathing. It may be about 100, 200 breaths. So that is quantitatively, you understand the improvement of your practice. At first, actually, this is possible. But later, there are areas that you can't really quantitatively measure. But qualitatively, there is an improvement. But quantitatively, you can't measure if there is any kind of an improvement. But at first, definitely, you can quantitatively measure. Yeah.
Bhante, just shall I read the rest so it might be a continuation?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Third part is so much frustrations and challenges, how to face during the normal life. And then the next part, is there any way to enhance required wealth during this path to have decent life for dependents? And if I follow this, what are the benefits? Is there any way to prevent potential health issues in this path?
Health issues. So I can't say there are any such kind of big risk in kind of health risk in the meditation unless you are going in. Prevent. Yeah, that's what I'm telling. So typically it's a healthy path. So more and more your mind become healthy, your internal, any anxiety, any depression, and all that slowly reduced, and you become more and more awakened, more and more to the moment and in the present moment, and you start understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and if there any kind of compulsive behaviors, any emotions, you start understanding. So if you are in the correct track, correct path, things are happening in a more positive way. And that is being actually even nowadays, scientifically also they have proved that. You can go through various research and they proved that the mindfulness practice has a very good positive impact even to the brain. Now the executive functions of the brain are improved, and certain other negative parts like what's that called, amygdala, kind of reducing something going on. Many things are there. and even the memory improves, and the communication between the two hemispheres of the brain, so that is also improved. So many scientific revelation, the research is going through, and these things are published, and certain videos are also available, and you can look at them. And therefore these things are no more a kind of a myth or mystics. Rather, these are more scientific. And people have gone through these practices, and they really has proven these things are happening. These positive changes are happening in the brain. So don't worry about the kind of risk. Rather, it is happening to the positive side. Important thing is to be balanced. So there are certain pitfalls possible. So one thing is, say for example, you are able to develop certain amount of concentration, and sometimes people start overusing the concentration. Say for example, 5 hours continuously on a concentrated state, 6 hours on a continuously on a concentrated state. That is too much. So basically, absorption is something better, and it's a kind of a enjoyment, but only for a short period. No need to extend it and become addicted to it. So that's why in our approach in Nissarana Vanaya, we are trying to be taking Samatha and Vipassana very much together, rather than completely emphasizing Samatha. Because if we only purely take Samatha approach, then there's a little bit of a risk that one might completely get attached to it, completely into absorption and trying to addicted to it. So that is a kind of a harmful approach. But if you are keeping mindfulness as the forefront, that is your target. How to be mindful while walking, how to be mindful while breathing, how to be mindful while eating, how to be mindful while talking. So likewise, you are spreading mindfulness everywhere. It's a very smooth practice. It is harmless, and there is no any issue. Instead, you may get a lot of benefits, and you start understanding your emotions, you start understanding your weaknesses, and any kind of impulsive behaviors you may start understanding. And as a result of that, you may be able to develop certain amount of interpersonal relationships. All are happening in a positive way if we are properly taking the mindfulness as the guiding factor. So therefore, we encourage that approach, not the concentration, not any other any mysterious kind of an achievement. Rather, very tangible, very fairly logical, and fairly intellectual in a way. Development of mindfulness, and as you develop mindfulness, certain other spiritual qualities become available to you, and it happens smoothly.
How to face the frustrations and challenges in your normal life?
Yeah, it will. Frustrations and challenges are part of the life. So don't try to. Say even for the Buddha, I am not saying the frustrations, but the challenges are there. So challenges are part of this human realm. Now, say during the Buddha's time, so people were quarreling, and people are sort of arguing, and they are sometimes trying to give some trouble to the Buddha also, and all these many difficulties are there, and Buddha has gone through that. So that is part of our practice also, what we call as the ups and downs of the life, vicissitudes of the life. So that is unavoidable. So we have to go through the vicissitudes of the life, and the practice help us to properly navigate through those ups and downs. That's it. It is not that we are only getting the gains, only the happiness, only the praise, and only the fame as we continue the path. Rather, both sides are definitely possible. And how well you are maintaining the middle, maintaining the equanimity, evenness of the mind, equilibrium of the mind amidst all these ups and downs. So that is part of the path. Puttassa loka dhammehi cittang yassana kampati asokang virajang khemang etam mangala muttamang.
Question number 11, sitting meditation. Object breath, observation, observe the movement of the abdomen while breathing. Challenges, concentration slipped away with the pain in the legs, and I was determined not to change my posture. hence most of the time concentrating on the body than the breath. Dear Bhante, appreciate if you could advise how to overcome such situations.
I didn't follow.
Sorry. Concentration slipped away with the pain in the legs, and I was determined not to change my posture. Hence, most of the time concentrating on the body than the breath.
Yeah, that's not a bad approach, because if you feel it's difficult to pay attention to breathing, it's so subtle, and so you are trying to overall look at the body because it's giving you a more kind of a gross aspect. And if you feel it is helpful and again takes you, reduce the distractions and again settle yourself to the body, and then slowly again back yourself to the breath, no problem. I mean, it's a kind of a wise approach. So even today morning, so that's how I taken you through the guided sitting. So immediately putting yourself to the breath may be difficult, but slowly doing a little bit of body scan and restraining the mind to the, constraining the mind to the body, and then gradually taking to the breath. I mean, in case your distractions happen, you can take the same approach again and come back to the breath. No harm.
Walking meditation, sensing the touch of the body, sensing the touch of the bottom of the foot with the sand. Find it easier to concentrate than sitting meditation. Did the counting from 1 to 100 and try to be mindful at each count or step.
No problem, but later once you are developing mindfulness, slowly abandon counting. Because counting can be a burden to the mind. Definitely it's a burden to the mind. So the meditation has to be a relaxation approach. So as you develop mindfulness by using this kind of a counting technique, you need to let go of that counting technique later and just being mindful each and every step. So keeping the mind fairly quiet, reducing any kind of mental reverberation.
Question number 12. Started walking outside the corridor. There were two areas. One part was warm due to sunlight, other part was cold. I experienced cold area very clearly, and then when I walked to the warm part, the demarcation was well appreciated. Feeling of cold was felt to my soles clearly after some time. This demarcation became less clear as cold area was perished, can't understand, even over the warm area and vice versa. Then next 15 minutes I shifted to the rug area where the roughness was well appreciated without any temperature differences.
No problem. I mean, these are giving you a certain kind of a variation to your practice. So it's interesting, and you just do the investigation. The quality of the investigation is one area that we need to emphasize, and your observation may change, by the way. Just anticipate that. Just continue the practice, naturally allow it to change.
Question number 13. It's a small clarification needed regarding the walking meditation. When you do the walking meditation, what will be the objective, kamatahan, in the samatha, the mindfulness meditation? There are 40 kamatahans, among them nothing called walking meditation. In that case...
No. Yeah. So actually this is Iriyapata Bhavana. So this in the Satipatthana Samyutta, if you refer Iriyapata Pabbha, Gaccantova Gaccamiti Pajanati. So we are into that first. Gaccantova Gaccamiti Pajanati. You are, while the body is walking, and you are fully aware the body is walking. But interesting thing is, it will evolve towards the Dhatu Manasikara as a second stage. At first, even though it is kind of a gross sensation about the whole body in the walking, but later as your mindfulness is sharpening, it will take you to the elements meditation, Dhatu Manasikara. So as you are moving, each and every movement, maybe vibration, the gross, the hardness, softness. You know, just to give you a explanation about the Dhatu Manasikara, there are 4 elements, right? The Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. So the Patavi, the earth characteristics. So there are 6 aspects, Buddha says, 6 characteristics. The hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness and lightness. So as you walk, you can feel all these 6. And not immediately, but as you are growing, you can feel many of these qualities. And then the tejo, the heat element, the coldness and the heat or the higher temperature, the warmness. These two also you can, actually you have mentioned that. At certain place you felt the warm and another place you felt the cold. So that is the tejo dhatu. And then the movements and these vibrations belong to the air element. And sometimes it's difficult to recognize the apo dhatu, the water characteristics, maybe fluidity, it may be flowing, and maybe the cohesion. So these are the aspects that we are trying to recognize. Usually the walking meditation naturally evolves towards elements meditation. Let it happen naturally, don't force it. Let it naturally evolve towards the elements meditation.
You answered the balance part. My experience today, it is the first time I have attended a residential course, sitting meditation. I found it difficult to meditate in a cross-legged position initially, but the instructions were clear and I tried to concentrate. Walking meditation was good. Mindfulness during walking was a new experience. Question number 15. Meditation day 1, Venerable Bhante, walking meditation. Felt the roughness and the hardness of sand and at times a softness. Felt right foot puts more pressure on ground than left, and also felt how unequally the pressure distributes on each feet. The balls and heels of the foot has more pressure compared to the rest of the area of the foot. Also when I lift, felt that the heel of foot lifts before the rest and that the arch does not touch the ground. At times felt the warmth of sand during sun. When turning, felt how the pressure distributes around the balls of the feet. Also noticed the softness when I put slippers after walking barefoot. I could keep mindfulness maximum about 4 to 6 steps. Then mind wanders. Also at times I feel a sensation around and below my right eye. I could describe it as vagirena gatiya, like tearing in the right eye without tears, and also different types of sensations. Dots, very subtle dots appearing and disappearing. These goes away once I put back my mind into walking. Seated, trying to focus mainly on breath. Work target area is the entrance to right nostril. I could feel breath in as a flow of mild turbulence. I felt it on the middle of nasal septum. Then breathing out. There is a gap between breathing and in-breathing also. Between breath and out-breath, in-breath. Breathing out is felt as a touch on the upper nostril area. This is different to the area where I feel breathing in. I think due to the fan, I felt swirls of air around my nostrils. Also again there were sensations, the vagirena gatiya, from my right eye to face down. Then again I take my focus to breath. I can look at about 5 to 6 breaths. Then mind wanders mostly to bodily sensations.
Very good. I mean, your approach is very good and fairly descriptive, and you have noticed very good subtle points in the breathing as well as in walking. Just continue the path. You understood the technique. Just continue.
Last one, number 16. Seated meditation. In and out breath is subtle at nostrils. At first I was able to feel a coolness in the in-breath and a warmth in the out-breath. However, this faded and it became a very faint feeling at nostrils. I could feel tingling sensations on my face and skull. Sometimes I could feel hard pressure along the same areas which vanishes away. I also experienced a place of stillness, sort of an empty feeling which disappears very quickly with oncoming thoughts as I catch myself again, coming back to feeling the cool in and out breath at my nostrils. Mindfulness in day-to-day tasks. Ate my food also to chewed and ate the food also to walking, roughness of the ground, also drinking sensation of warmth.
No problem. You understood the technique and certain subtle points are also mentioned there. Just continue. You are in the correct track. Okay, those are the written reports that we have received, and I hope there are no more questions. Right? Okay. Then we'll wind up the session and we'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. Thero Sanaya.